a high level shot making a noon tip in the Big 12. I'm sorry, noon 12:30. Let me be exact on this one. A 12:30 tip to start off our Thursday in the Big 12 tournament, and boy, did it ever deliver in this basketball game. BYU makes 18 3-pointers at a 50% clip. Iowa State makes 13 3-pointers at a 43% clip. Curtis Jones has 31 points. Richie Saunders has 23 points. I mean, there's so much to talk about in this basketball game, but for starters, I want to get this out there. This was, to me, as an offensive connoisseur, I love watching the ball go through the hoop, man. Like as much as I'm a Big Ten guy and I can grind out a little Tuesday rock fight, 59-50. This means something to me watching guys make shots at a very high level. And BYU and Iowa State did that in this basketball game. Iowa State was down two starters in this game. Tamin Lipsey and Keyshawn Gilbert sat this one out with injuries. Great decision by Otts, in my opinion. And all the credit to them for battling in this basketball game, coming back and making this a really, really good basketball game. I will take a step back here, though, and throw it over to you, Subi. What were your initial thoughts on this game?
No, I think you hit a lot of really good points there in the opener. What a lovely, lovely brand of
Oh,
basketball.
it was so beautiful, man. So beautiful.
It was incredible. It was incredible to watch the shot making. So I think the biggest takeaway for me, Cart, is that a lot of positives can be taken away for both teams. But let's start with the winner, right? And
Hmm.
that's BYU. 18 threes on 50%. Good Lord. You mentioned it. It's bears repeating right now. We're probably going to mention it again before this preview's over or recap's over. But that's also a Big 12 conference tournament record, by the
Hmm.
way. And in the preview, I had said I'm confident in their ability not only to hit double digit threes, but like a pretty high clip. I didn't think they were going to hit a record, but
Right.
alas, if there was one team to do it, it was this BYU team. And they shared the ball so well. 24 assists. That's another reason why this was such a beautiful brand of basketball because the ball moves, it never sticks. They do a great job of dribbling, penetrating, and then kicking it out, or they find open shooters off of offensive rebounds. I thought BYU also really won the margins. Offensive rebounds, like I had mentioned, assists, like I had mentioned, but also they had less turnovers. So it's easy to sort of fixate on, oh, ball go through hoop. Like I know I'm not simplifying what you said,
Hmm.
but it's easy to fixate on that. But what leads to some of those, right? The offensive rebounds, the assists, and taking care of the basketball. I think BYU really did a great job of winning the margins. And two names that I think Cougars fans like owe a big thank you to, and were just a joy to watch today. Triori and Boscovich, they
Hmm.
were awesome, man. Like I know we mentioned Kibakeda, we didn't mention Boscovich's name whatsoever, but I know I had mentioned Kibakeda, Triori, Foose, Big Foose. He
Big
was
boost.
he was amazing, right?
Yeah.
He was a terrific off the bench, 15 huge points. Again, so was Boscovich hitting timely threes. So this was really, really a special performance from BYU. And I know we're going to be saying, and I'm very impressed with Iowa State's fight down two starters.
Hmm.
BYU wasn't down a starter, but Igor Demon, basically, like he was a non-factor. So
Yeah.
they won, right? BYU deserves credit for winning with their lottery pick, not playing very well at all. And again, he had more turnovers than points in this game. Turnovers are a bugaboo for Demon,
Hmm.
but I credit BYU also for next man up and being able to withstand a bad Demon performance.
Yeah, and look, they Curtis Jones went nuclear in that first half of the threes he was hitting. And BYU gave up 53 first half points and found themselves only down four because of some special shooting by themselves. And even though, they gave up 39 points in the second half, I thought there were some adjustments by Coach Young. Some interesting ones too, because it wasn't necessarily the one you thought they would make. They actually ended up going zone for a good portion of this game. And I believe it was for Schiller on the call who pointed it out, and I noticed it as well too. They went zone to basically just throw them out of the rhythm. It wasn't necessarily to force them in the 3-pointers. It was just force them in the different 3-pointers, right? There wasn't like more. It wasn't as many driving kicks. It was a little bit more stagnant. Curtis Jones was also settling for deeper threes, I thought, even though he hit 7 for 15. So I got no issue with his shot selection or anything like that. But I thought it was a great shift to the zone. And, you brought up Boscovich. Ever since the Arizona game, I figured out that Boscovich, and I mean this endearingly, he's the team psycho. He's the Kerr Kriisa of the team. He is like the Trey Holloman. He's the instigator. He is yelling. He is talking shit. That's his role. He's really good in it, and he does that in this game. Comes off the bench and gives you three threes, right? And in a lot of the guys we talked about being really good pieces for this team, Mawai Mag only played 17 minutes in this game. Coach Young shifted in this game and pulled all the right strings, which he has done for like the last 2 months with this BYU team. And in the words of Beyonce, I am dangerously in love with BYU. It's getting bad, man. I got a Google search where I looked up how to become Mormon, and I was kind of serious. It would take 2 weeks, by the way.
Oh, okay.
But this team is just really good. It's fun. The balance is really good. They took 22 two-pointers. I think they ended up taking 36 three-pointers in this game. Let me see here. Oh, 36 three-pointers, 20 free throws. They were getting to the basket. I was so impressed with how they attacked this Iowa State defense. Like you talked about the assist numbers, I think that really reflects what they were able to do. The driving kicks, the pump fakes, get a foot in the lane, kick out the shooters, their feet are set, or they cheat to the shooter, so you dump it down to Foose down low or dump it down to Kada. If you miss it, someone's getting the offensive rebound, they're attacking the glass, they were physical. Um, as much as I'm like I was in, I'm not like downing Iowa State whatsoever. Like I think I commend their fight. I'm just glowing about what this BYU team is doing.
I am too. They're tremendous. And it's almost to a point now, Cart, where you say, hopefully they just miss. I mean, I don't know how you effectively defend these 3-point shooters. I didn't think Iowa State did a terrible job in terms of closing out. And I mean, they're going to face better defenses, but Iowa State's no slouch. And it really is getting to a point now where if these guys are putting up record numbers in the Big 12 tournament, you just got to hope they go cold. And that's a scary proposition because that's something you can't control necessarily. And so when you have to deal with that, I don't know, maybe you try and take away the offensive rebounds, right? But
Mm.
they're still gonna I'm still very, very confident that BYU is going to shoot and hit double digit threes. And so when that happens, your offense absolutely has to come with it. And Iowa State's did. It was just that they were a little shorthanded, but BYU was flame throwing then. And so right now they're playing arguably the best basketball in the entire country. And it's funny. You mentioned Kevin Young. He's done a wonderful job of making adjustments. And we've seen his maturation and growth throughout the entire season. And
Yeah,
that's to say they were just super disjointed, but now they're an absolute wrecking machine.
yeah, they truly are good, and it's been impressive to watch. You go to Torvik and you sort out teams since I could have probably gone back further, but I just did since the start of February. BYU is the seventh best team in the country since the start of February, and it looks like that. I think that is very reflective on what this team is. Also,
Seems kind of low to me.
yeah, shout out to the Big 12. Number six since February is Texas Tech, and number four, Houston, who they will match up with next, and we'll see what BYU does in that game. But look, just quickly to touch on Iowa State, I did like that they sat those guys out, get those guys healthy. Um, Credit to the guys that stepped up in this moment and played well. I do have to ask this because I'm messy. Um, is there something about like maybe the three guards not playing? Like I know there was two guards out in this game, and that makes sense to me, but you know, it's a little bit sometimes funky to me when Lipsy, Gilbert, and Jones are on the court at the same time. Like when it works, it's fun. But is there anything to say about that? Or I guess I need a temperature check for you for Iowa State.
No, I don't think so. I genuinely think that they're just battling a ton of injuries right now and
Mm,
some bad luck over the course of the entire season. Their body of work, their resume speaks for itself, and it's very good. It's worked. I don't I don't know if there's any questions or concerns there. I'd love to contribute to the messiness cart. I just, it's got to be in good faith, right? And
yeah.
it's got to be organic and natural. I just don't necessarily see it. But Curtis Jones, man, my just closing thoughts honestly reminded me of Steph Curry during during that
It
run. I
was
don't
dog, he was cooking.
the second Jimmer Fredette, BYU fans remember. I don't know. Shoot, that might actually get me in trouble with BYU fans again, comparing someone to Jimmer Fredette. I'm sorry if that was far fetched, but
We said enough good things before this. Hopefully they missed that.
no, Curtis Jones was tremendous, and we've gone this long cart without saying Richie Saunders' name. He took him home. I think he finished the game or like 9 points, 9 straight points, something like that. And he had an unbelievable block on Milan
Yeah.
Momcilovic when
Yep.
Momcilovic rose for a three.
Mhm.
So that was, I mean, Richie Saunders, man, he's a stud. He's an
Dog,
absolute stud.
he's so good, man. Truly so good. It's wild to think that there was a world where he was going to go to Kentucky in this offseason, and his wife said, "Nah, I love Provo." So I don't want to see Mrs. Saunders ever buy a swig or whatever it is that they drink down there in Provo. Drinks on y'all for the rest of the time there, because y'all got a first team all Big 12 player, Richie Saunders, and he has been incredible this season. And now look, BYU's at a point where I think so. The next round is the semis, correct?
Semis against Houston.
Semis against Houston. I mean, you're getting no handouts here. Houston pantsed them earlier in the season at the Fertitta Center. Now you have a chance. That wasn't this BYU team though.
That's
So
right.
it's going to be a hell of a matchup. I'm so excited to see it. We will have the preview for that game up on the channel. Before we get to Subi, got anything else before we get out of here?
Very last thing, I'm a big
Yep.
movie guy. Milan Momcilovic, I love The Sopranos. He looks just like Finn DiTrolio. And he's Sopranos fans out there. Kevin Young, by the way, BYU. I didn't forget about you. He looks like Steve the Pirate after he shed his outfit from Dodgeball. Those are
I'm
my
so
closing
I-
comments.
I'm so glad you didn't let us get out of here without saying that, truly. But yeah, congrats to BYU. Shout out to Iowa State. Get healthy. Want to see y'all be good in the tournament. But BYU advances by a score of 96-92, and we'll move on to take on Houston. We will have that preview up on the channel as well as all the recaps of every Big 12 tournament game and preview over here on Super's Media YouTube channel. Subi